Hey folks, welcome back to the farm. Beautiful 50-degree day out here in pretty much the middle of winter here in Nebraska. We're going to check some stuff out here on the farm, see what winter's done to us. The last two 50-degree days have really eaten this snow up, but you can see we are a muddy mess out here in the driveway. The top of the driveway is staying fairly dry because we got a little crown to it, but the end of the driveway down by the main road is a sloppy mess. So we got to wait for this to dry up so we can regrade it with a tractor. We have a river running down over here. I had to divert the water right here so it didn't continue to run down the driveway because that was making us all wet. But lots of mud. I want to go out and check on the bees and see if they're flying because I want to catch them as soon as they start flying. I want to give them some syrup. So let's go out and check them out. No bee activity out here, but I am not concerned because the wind's blowing right against this thing, and even though it's 50 degrees, wind chill is probably down to like 25. So I'm not too scared. Still a pretty good chance these bees are going to be fine. Sorry about the wind. You see we got a nice river running down here alongside the barn, running down the hill. That's helping slow down help melting that snow. You can see Ruby's a car chaser apparently, so we're gonna have to break her of that. Ruby, no chasing cars. Leave your sister alone. She's gonna be a muddy mess when we get back in the house. The swale that we put in along this side over here is working as designed. You can see all the water coming down through here and then going down the hill to our culvert down there. Real pleased with that. It's a good time to check your property to see where your flooding issues are when this kind of stuff is going on. We're going to walk up the hill here a little bit in a minute and take a little bit better look at it. I'm up here on the hill above our place. This is still on our property. This is our fence line right here, but believe it or not, in the 2.5 years we've lived here, I've never been up on this hill. But we get a lot of deer that hang out up in here, bed down up in here. And real interesting, this is the old road bed right here from years ago, before they built the new road down there and flattened a lot of stuff off. So that's a pretty cool piece of history there. The road used to come right down through here at some point. Probably right down along through there. You can see the water coming off of the neighbor's place even comes down onto our property here and goes into our swale. Before the swale was here, it would all run down here, all up by the barn, through the garden. It used to be a real nasty wet mess down here. So this swale we created is working out very nicely. There's also a very large finger that goes back up into the hills in there, so all the water coming out of there comes down to our property too. You can see all the water that has come down the hill is kind of pooled in this area here and piles up here, runs through our fence right here. This is really good to know because I was unaware where the low spot was because I haven't lasered any of this or anything. So now I know this is the low spot, and I can come back to this video and count fence posts. So right here, the water is going down into our upper area where I planted our food plot and all that. So now I know whenever I do some more dirt work, I need to put more dirt on this levee here. This here is lower, but with the ice in it, it's not allowing the water to go down the swale. So I think we'll build this berm up here if I was able to get the tractor up here, I could clear this out, and then the water would run right down that area there. So we're getting a pond down there fairly quickly. I was told years ago when they had a serious flood here, the water actually ran over the berm here and went down across the garden out through the barn and all that. So when we acquired the property, I cut this edge out here so it's lower than the berm. So if this was to fill up again in a major flood, it would run out this low area and go down where we want it to go. So this right here is lower than our berm. But I guess what happened during that flood was the ground was frozen, and they had some snow and a lot of rain. The rain melted the snow, and none of the water could go into the ground. It was all runoff, and it all come running out of these hills down through here and filled this up, overflowed, washed all the way down to the road. I busted the tractor out, which I really didn't want to do with it being so wet, but I didn't want to wash my hillside away here. So we put the stump bucket on, and we created a trench for the water so we can get through the snow and down the swale where it's supposed to go. So now it's going where it needs to go, because we want this to dry out eventually. All this snow here is going to melt into here, so we don't want a pond halfway through the summer. I'd love to have a pond, but it would take too much water to keep it full in the summer. So hopefully this warm water coming through here is going to melt a lot more of this snow and make a more defined ditch down into the dirt where this stuff will run down the hill better. We've got all this water that's coming down out of this area, we've got it diverted going this way instead of running all the way down next to the barn. So that'll help dry this up a little bit. We still have a little bit coming out of here, but that's not going to last very long. Once that's melted, that's going to stop. But we still got quite a bit of snow out here. So I'm going to do some more dirt work. I've already done a little bit here. You can see where it's lower in this area to help the water get that way. But I'm going to have to come back further here and bring that swale further this way to catch all this. I'll probably bring the swale all the way over to the orchard here and bring it down this way so all this water runs down the hill to that culvert. You can see now all the water coming down the swale, all the water coming out from behind the barn, all the water running off the left hand side of the driveway, all comes down to this culvert. And what happens is these culverts get drifted in, covered with snow, and then it gets hard. So I came down here with a shovel and cut a little trench down where the water was settling underneath the ice to let it flow a little bit better. Now if it got too bad down in here, it could come up. If it came up this high, it would go through this cattle tunnel here as long as it wasn't drifted over. But you can see down through there, this tunnel used to be where the cattle went underneath the main road here to the pasture on the other side. They would walk through this big tunnel here. Pretty neat little tunnel. If I was a kid, I'd be in there all day long. But our river's looking good. Just got a few places to address, but I'm glad I came out here while the water was running so I could see what those were. And then once things dry up, we can make things better for the future. The garden is starting to peek through the snow. You can see the rows. So it won't be long, the dirt will be showing out here. If you remember, we did a real good job of putting the garden to bed. So we won't have a lot of work to do out here other than mulching and planting. Hey, do I need to separate you two? All right, that wraps it up for today outside. We've got quite a bit done with the water out here. We'll come back out on a warmer day when there's not as much wind blowing, and we'll tend to them bees. So until next time, stay safe, stay healthy. Love you guys. Come back and see us here at Markelly Farm.